Hold on, let me record too. Record to the cloud. All right, give it a second. Give it a second. We're almost there. And we're live.
And we are live. Welcome to episode number 38 of the Risk Reward Show presented by Risk Reward Media. My name is Chris Mercado, aka Mr. Risk. And as usual, I am joined by
Mr. Reward.
And we are here to help you find the upside in your career, in your business ventures, and in your personal life. We have an exciting episode today. We're continuing the theme of the great recalculation. And to piggyback off of last week's topic about family planning, we will do a great recalculation of dating. Is it fun or is it just futile? So I will be sharing some interesting anecdotes and insights on my own views on dating, and so will Derek. But before we get to that, we will start with our Risk Reward Weekly Rewind. And I think there's a sports figure that has dominated the news for the past couple of days. So let's start off with Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Rodgers, and maybe some contrasts to Kyrie Irving in terms of the idea of getting vaccinated and how Aaron Rodgers, one of the most amazing quarterbacks we have ever seen in the NFL ever, sort of, misled the public in terms of whether or not he was vaccinated, and it looks like he violated some protocols. So Derek, you are a huge football fan. What are your what's your take? What are your views?
Huge football fan and a huge basketball fan, huge sports fan in general. But Aaron, aka Mr. Discount, to double check. Literally, I think is one. If State Farm plug. Literally, I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest QBs to ever live or to ever play the game. So nothing bad can be said about his game. He's an animal. He owns the Chicago Bears, as he said. But recently he's been in the news very, very heavily for the backlash that he's been getting about his status with regards to getting his vaccine. So during a press conference some time ago, he basically said that he was immunized, not saying that he got the vaccine at all. So normally when people hear that, they think, oh, like you probably got it. So it wasn't like any more follow up on that. But recently it's been found out that he has COVID. And due to him having COVID, he had to be, basically, like he missed the last game. I'm not sure if he's going to miss like any other games, depending on if he's cleared or not. But the big talk was, or the big, issue was that he claimed that he was vaccinated, or he kind of, like you just said earlier, he misled the public that he was, because you have other players that are in on the league that aren't vaccinated. Like I believe Kirk Cousins is one of them. And normally, if you haven't taken the vaccine, they want you to still be masked up on the sidelines. So you have other players who are still, following that, like those rules. But Aaron wasn't at all. Aaron was just out there, just no mask, just kind of just like living. And at first, I thought he didn't get as much backlash as Kyrie Irving did. I think the world literally came down on Kyrie like he is the bad man. He is the most horrible person ever. And the fact that Kyrie came out and said he just literally said, I'm not going to actually get it. So whatever happens, happens. But Aaron Rodgers kind of not kind of, misused his words, but he just kind of did like, some wordplay to where it seemed as if he was.
He was
at first,
he was
yeah. So at first he didn't get as much like backlash, but then once people started to say like, hey, we have other people who are going after Kyrie, how come they don't go after Aaron Rodgers the exact same way? So now he's getting dogged on shows like First Take. Stephen A. Smith is literally going after him, I think, almost every day. Um, I didn't get a chance to see Aaron Rodgers' response on the Pat McAfee show, but speaking with you earlier, Chris, I do see why he didn't take it with regards to him being allergic to some of the ingredients that are within the vaccine, as well as him, not so sure about the fertility about it also. So I mean, I fully understand why he's not doing it, but it's just funny that at first he didn't get that backlash and Kyrie got it, crazy at first, but now he's kind of getting it. But I think he may get fined pretty heavily, as well as the Green Bay Packers too. But I wanted to hear like what you thought about it with regards to that.
He often comes across as very thoughtful, but then it becomes so self-absorbed where it comes across as arrogant and maybe a little selfish. So this became one of those moments where I think his kind of like belief in his own ways and thinking and picking and choosing what agreed with his thinking contributed to his not only making the decision not to be vaccinated, but also it's the deceit behind it. He was asked if he was vaccinated. He said, "Yeah, I'm immunized." So just by saying "yeah," that would be a lie. The "I'm immunized" is misdirection, which is a common strategy, right? That worked until he got COVID. So he did a redirection. As someone who's done press for like major outlets, I've been trained in tactics like blocking, redirection, right? And that's what Aaron Rodgers did. So it was a PR tactic that he used, and now he has to do more PR to kind of make up for the deceit that he had, and it's not working. If he stopped that, look, I'm allergic to a couple of the ingredients and a couple of the vaccines. I'm concerned about fertility because I want to have kids in the future. He could have stopped there and apologized for not being as open and honest as he could have been. But if he did that, then it would almost be an automatic fine because he also broke the protocols that you had mentioned.
Yeah.
So now he's dancing around it, leaving it cloudy. But when you leave it cloudy, you take away from the legacy of being a decisive, amazing talent, right? One of the reasons why he is such a great quarterback is because he's really decisive under lots of stress, and he's not showing the same composure or I guess integrity off the field at this moment. So it's disappointing for a lot of people who backed him. For me, I'm a fan, but just as a talent as a whole, I just don't know him personally. I do find him really interesting because of the thoughtfulness, but he does come across as self-absorbed and selfish sometimes. And he had some off-season kind of friction with management. So, a lot of people talk about like players coach. He comes across as someone who wants to call the shots from like an executive viewpoint as well. And as a quarterback, you are an executive. You are the CEO on the field for the offense. So I can understand that mentality. But he's gone beyond a player's coach mentality.
Player's owner almost.
He almost has a player executive mentality, and that's unheard of. So he deserves the scrutiny that he's getting. Um, he's not a lot of people went straight up to call him like a liar. So calling someone a liar is very, very, very strong.
Yeah.
So if you lied once, are you always a liar? Right? So that's why I avoid using that term liar. But he did lie and he was deceitful for that moment, and he should be punished for it.
Yeah. He definitely will be. I know these the punishments are coming down the pipeline like pretty soon. But I just wish he would have just stood his ground uh just like Uncle Drew did in terms of just being honest and saying like, you know what, I'm not gonna take it, or this is my reasons why. I feel like he kind of like the fact that he had to backtrack and kind of if he would explain why early on, I don't think he would have faced like as much backlash as he's getting now.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So while we have been detailing Aaron Rodgers losing, my weekly rewind is centered on winning. And a friend of mine, who is a City College of New York alumnus,
There you go.
And that's our alma mater for the audience out there. A friend of mine, Andreina Martinez, won the crown of Miss Dominican Republic, which means on December 12th, she will be representing DR at the Miss Universe pageant. I can't be prouder of you, Andreina. I've known you for almost like 6 years, and I think you're a really inspiring story of the power of being first generation and being immigrants, and being a role model for young girls and young women. Like I was rooting for her a lot throughout this entire process. She had to win a lot of smaller pageants, and I've seen it come up. All of it has been authentic. I get a little crazy on my Instagram stories, just really pulling for her. So I'm super proud of her, and I want everybody to support Andreina Martinez as she goes for the crown of Miss Universe on December 12th. I can't think of a better birthday present, because my birthday is right around that day. Can't think of a better birthday present than her winning it. And one of the reasons why it is personally meaningful is because, especially during the heights of the pandemic, when we were talking about the show, actually, she was one of the people I communicated with the most on various levels, and it made the pandemic more bearable, and we really got to know each other super well. So she's not just representing DR, she's representing all of the best qualities that the world needs right now. So that's even more reason to support her.
I mean, and I just also want to say that she is a CCNY,
Yes.
Go Beavers.
City College. City
I'm
College.
telling you, man, the City College breeds like the best type of people.
Winners. There's an Instagram story where I said I called it Miss Universe 2025. I just got the year wrong. So it's this year apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's cool. But you said it's gonna happen on December 12th?
I think the pageant happens December 12th in Israel.
Oh wow.
For that, and I'm gonna volunteer to help coach her in terms of anything related to like interviews, again, like media related things. So
Teach
Spanish.
to Aaron Rodgers.
Spanish, yes. But I would charge Aaron Rodgers for. This one will be for free, but I remember one moment where, we talked about the idea of like public speaking and how for both of us it's been a challenge. And I know at times she has been concerned about, well, her Spanish accent. And I think it has not prevented her from communicating like her values and how wonderful she is. So I want a culture to be more comfortable in, speaking in English or Spanish, so that the world can know um, what the impact that she will make if crowned Miss Universe. So I'm looking forward to that.
Congrats to you.
Yes, congrats, Andrina, once again. And with that, we can move on to our main topic, which is, again, like the great recalculation, right? But to piggyback off of last week's family planning episode, which you did a great job, just like really, Derek, like just giving us insights on that. We'll take it another step further where we talk about dating. So our episode is titled The Great Recalculation. Dating, fun or futile, right? And I think I'll start off with the risks in terms of online dating. And for me, I am Mr. Risk on the show. So whenever like the prospects of online dating comes up, I think back to some of the earlier days. So when I was like younger, I was using Facebook, MySpace. If y'all remember, like Mi Gente, right? So along the lines of like Black Planet and Asian Avenue, if you remember those sites.
No AIM?
Yeah. Even AIM, right?
ASL.
Yeah, I would shoot my shots, right? But I didn't think of it as like online dating. But then these sites started popping up, and then it became more like formal. But I remember in those like younger variations, there was still a stigma of online dating. Some of it is like was a social stigma, and some of us just carry individual stigmas like, oh, you can't meet anyone in person, so you have to resort to online dating. But that's different now. So if you fast forward 10, 15 years later, you have folks who have grown up with smartphones and laptops that give access to a wider dating pool via sites like Match, right? Or Plenty of Fish. And then now with like apps like Hinge, Tinder, right, and Bumble, now you have so much technology that's catered towards online dating, and people who have grown up being like digital natives. So the taboo is really no longer there. But that doesn't mean that risks don't still exist. And when I talk about risks, I think of it. I think of it in terms of like broader ways. So one, imagine how much time we've spent on Instagram and Facebook, but then you have to add that to time spent on these dating apps. So the time and effort spent, but also the attention you have diverted away from other aspects of your life, like work or your family, or if you're dating but you're already supposedly in a committed relationship, then you are taking time away from a meaningful relationship, right? And that can't be good for those relationships if you are so much time on these apps, on these sites. And then the idea of how, especially like Tinder's UX UI, so the idea of just swiping, right? In a split second of seeing an image and maybe scrolling through a profile, that was sufficient due diligence as to whether or not you would actually want to get to know someone. Like that to me can be a good thing for generations of humankind going forward. The idea of like swipe, no, doesn't meet my qualifications based on a 2-second assessment, that can be a good thing.
Mhm.
So those are my initial thoughts before I present a few other insights. So Derek, what's your take on that?
I mean, it does create I guess more of like a superficial environment. I feel like for people, the fact that if I see your picture and I don't like it, like right, I mean, I feel like that's like dating though. People want to go out with people who like look good, but dating is more it's more involved. Like you want to know who that person is. You want to make sure that they're like a good fit for you. So that superficialness is something that is running rampant. I feel like with like Tinder and all of these other just like apps. Um, I feel like it's I've seen some funny profiles when like I have friends that were just put like, quick like one liners like, 6 foot tall, something, something, something. So they would kind of just like they know who like their target is. So they would just say certain things to be like, oh, like you should, swipe right or swipe left. But I think you hit it on the nail before when you said like this was like a taboo space because even back then when someone said you found love through like an app, people were like, are you sure that's that person? Like you sure you wasn't like catfished or something like that? So now it's more common, and I feel like I have friends that have met their significant others through apps. And at first, I was thinking like maybe this is just like a fling because a lot of these apps are like, we're just gonna hook up like once or twice and like that's it. But they actually found true love. So I think now that stigma is really going away. But the risk of, basically choosing people off of, I mean, there are apps I think that do like a good job at like, this is the type of person or giving people like bios. In the show Ted Lasso, they have I forget the name of the app that they have in there, but I think the way how they have it is that you don't see who that person is, but you know them based on like their interest within books. So I'm pretty sure they can find like other ways for you to kind of get to know that person before you swipe left or right, depending on how they look.
So all good points. I do want to present some data, so it's not data directly from me, but it's by way of one of my favorite thinkers and personalities, Professor Scott Galloway. So Prop G Show, co-host of Pivot with Kara Swisher. And on Professor Galloway's blog, um, he has a post on that's titled "A Fewer Good Men." And so if we start looking at this first chart, you'll see that sort of there's this indicator of isolation here, and isolation is almost never like a good thing for us as humans. So there's so Professor Galloway cites this general social survey uh, results, right? And the amount of men, so young men, 18 to 30 year olds, who haven't had sex in the past year. And I'm not trying to turn this into a sex episode, but sex is a part of dating for most people. It is a component of intimacy and like relationship building, and that is alarming. Like a third of uh, folks of young men reporting no sex in the past year. I know it's pandemic times, so that might complicate some things, but that's a lot, right? And again, start thinking about how this might affect the idea of being connected and building relationships. And since you spoke on family planning in the last episode, I want to point out here that studies consistently show that married people are wealthier than single people, right? And they live longer, generally happier. So there's a lot of positive correlations, both on a micro level, community level, and a macro level in terms of people getting married, right, and being partnered. And then in this blog post, he also cites, and this is via Stanford University, the boom in sort of how online has become the way that romantic couples meet. So that boom from 2000 to 2020 in just 20 years.
That's a big ass jump.
That is, I wish all of us had stocks that that's how I want all of our investments to look like, because that boom has been amazing, right? And that's just the power of technology and how we can scale, how we can be adopted so quickly, right? And then I get to this idea of the inequality that's on dating sites. And I'm going to reveal to you all that I don't use dating sites a whole lot. And that is because its algorithms don't favor folks that look like me or have my profile, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, let's go to Hinge, right? So on this line here, on Hinge, the top 10% of men receive nearly 60% of the likes, right? So what that means for me is I'm average looking. I can't put 6 foot tall on my profile. The tall, dark, and handsome stereotype as to like what women would want is still out there. A lot of people still believe it. So I end up being on the side of like not hitting the likes. So why would I over-index my time, energy, and attention to algorithms that don't look out for me? Black women and Asian men have consistently ranked as the lowest preferred on dating sites and dating apps. Mm. So again, why would I waste my time when these apps and sites don't look out for me? So I'm not going to be out shooting my shots on Tinder and Bumble and Hinge until I know that I actually have a reasonable shot. And I know it only takes one, but for me to invest so much time and effort when I'm running a business, when I have met people in real life that I actually want to build with, right? When I have investments, I gotta think about like all of that is competing for this time, and I just cannot devote that much time to online dating. And maybe, you know, some people might say, look, if dating is an important part of my life that I've been trying to prioritize, then you have to allocate some time to online dating and these apps as just part of the strategy and part of the, you know, the tactics that I should use to really address, you know, what I think is important to me, because I have recalculated that dating is a lot more important to me than before, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just using different tactics. Some people might call it old-fashioned, but for me, until these algorithms say otherwise, I'm wasting my time, right? If you were still out playing the field, Derek, you know, if we did like a comparison, you'd probably get a lot more attention than I would, right? So do I try to make up for that, or do I just move on and do other things where I'd be more successful? And this is where I'll introduce maybe a business opportunity for some, maybe for me. So the only reason I've had some wildly great success at very acute moments in my life with incredible women is my ability to communicate and empathize. And that's not going to come across in a 2-second read of my profile, right? So that business opportunity here is, do you all know how much podcasting, including shows like this, might have influenced kind of like your feelings, your thinking, and your behavior? So that idea of using audio way more in the dating space, I think, has been overlooked. It's something that I have been thinking about. Don't have an idea quite yet, but think of audio and dating. I think this is a space within the next 2 years that's gonna get more attention. There might be a couple of startups in the coming years that merge this idea of the rise of podcasts and audio, and just the need for connection and dating. So look out for that, and I'd love to be involved if someone already has an idea out there. But yeah, I have been thinking about that space. So I'll leave it for you for rebuttal or any thoughts about the data here or the idea of audio and dating.
With audio and dating, I'm just thinking about a voice like like the Allstate guy. Like imagine like all the girls that he could probably pull in, like just with his voice. But could you scroll up just like a little bit with the where it says like the amount of men that aren't having sex in like the past year? What I think that goes to, this is just my hunch, but I think we are so dependent on tech that we lack those human skills. And I think that plays a big part in that stat right there, because I feel like you can say what you want to say through text, through like email, even through audio. But when you're actually in front of that person, that's when like those nerves like really, really kick in. So I think that plays like, I think our dependence on tech really plays a big part in the fact that, people aren't having as much sex as they want to, I think.
So you think all these young men just got whack game, right? And
Possibly.
partly enabled by technology, because of the dependency on technology to do some of the heavy work for them, that they not have whack game.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, where you shine is that your ability to talk to others, your ability to speak with others, and really put yourself in their shoes. And it really depends on like what the situation is, but the fact that you don't rely on technology as much as other people, I think you would do 10 times better if you're in a face-to-face just like situation, because regardless of what, when you're dating someone, you're going to have to actually meet them. So talking through text, email, audio, that can only last but for so long. But it's going to come down to meeting them in person, and how you act in person, I think, is really going to really, say yes or no in terms of like, do they move forward with you or not? So that's just my hunch on like that stat right there.
And you're bringing up communication is actually more support for this idea of the audio space and the dating space. So I think, again, this is an opportunity that very few people are thinking about. So again, I would like to empathize with this graph. On some level, I'm also not feeling sorry for them, because I'm pretty sure they're not feeling sorry for me in terms of like folks that have my profile, Asian men in particular, not getting much love on the apps or on the sites. So like, hey, like that sucks.
Yeah.
Hope y'all fix that. Years long time for something that is a basic human need that's literally programmed in our brains. So that's rough. But again, I have my tactics. Others have theirs. But that's my stance on sort of recalculating, one, the importance of dating for me, and how I approach dating. And for me, online dating is on the futile side. And I think what's a lot more fun for me is in person, really like hearing from folks. My voice happens to be a little bit sexier at night or in the morning, but it's it's very professional.
Just turn that raspiness up just a little bit. That's all.
I don't know. It could be the air conditions at night that turns that up. But no, I love the communication part, and I think again there's a business opportunity there. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
double down on my strengths, which is in person and communication.
What was that other stat? The 77% of like wealthy of like married people are like more wealthy. Yeah,
Yeah,
married people are 70% wealthier than single people. I mean, I feel like that's I mean, of course, if you have two incomes, then of course you'll be more like wealthier. So, duh. But what I will say is, I do think the past year or the past 18 months has really let you see who you are more compatible with. A lot of people have to recalculate who they want to be with also. I've seen couples break up because they're like, I can't be with you every day. As simple as that. But then on the other end, you have couples that have thrived. You have couples that have started to realize like, hey, I see myself with this person and wanting to build with this person here. Like for me, like when it comes to our previous episode that we spoke about with like the family planning, building up with my fiance is something that I want to actually do. So building with her in terms of like, whether it be family, assets, you know, like just life in general, and just like every other aspect. I feel like for us, these are the types of things that we want to build on. So I think that is where we kind of recalculated also, because I feel like this time was a time where we really made sure like this is exactly what we want to do. But for those couples that are new, I think that time span was a really good time for them to really see if this is the real, like the person I really want to just like be with. Because I've heard horror stories of like, I found out that the girl I was with, she snores or something like that, like something little. But people have like their pet peeves. Just to be transparent, one of my pet peeves, I hate when people come out the shower and leave like the that rug wet. Like I hate stepping on a wet rug. So that will take me to that next level. And my fiance, she does it on purpose. But for her, I mean, I've been with her for a pretty long time. So I feel like she knows what gets me going. So she does it on purpose. That married people live longer and happier than single people. Again, a very obvious statement. If you're with someone, I feel like us as humans, we're like, we want to be like around people. So if you're not around people, I feel like you're going to live happier. And the fact that you have someone there just like with you. So, I mean, I do agree with some of the stats that are in here, but I do think some of them are like pretty obvious. But can you go down just a little bit more? I want to see what they said about the.
And I'll also add this. So my recalculations aren't very complex. Like, I look at my bank account and I'm like, well, I can't be a sugar daddy. I just don't have enough. So that tactic of dating, that's out of the question. Not that I wanted it anyway, if I had the money. But that's clearly out of the question. And then this idea of like, well, do I really have a whole lot of time to spread out for like 8 to 10 different people, or do I just have time to dedicate to 3 or 4 who actually put in some effort to want to get to know me as well?
Yeah, and you touch upon something big. I have friends that will talk to like multiple girls at once. I'm like, you don't get mixed up. You don't get tired of that. Like I can't remember a whole bunch of things. I'm happy that I have to remember one birthday, one
Sorry,
one date like that. Yeah, oops, wrong text. My bad. So I mean, that time is something that I think until you are like with that one person, you're like, damn, like I have so much things to do. Like I can just focus on this one person rather than saying, I want to do this with, this person and that with this, just doing like, a whole bunch of different things with just like different people. That I think if there was a study on that, how does that dealing with with multiple people, like what does that do to your brain, or like what does that do to you just like personally? That I think would be like a very, very good study to see.
That'd be interesting, but again, you can extrapolate from other aspects of your life. Like if you're running around with like 7 tabs, every hour of work, that can't be good for your tasks concerning tabs, right? So again, and dividing that attention and all that money, dating is expensive, right? You got to allocate some amount of funds to that, and now you got to spread it out. So again, you want to concentrate your efforts, right? We talked about this in our portfolios. You want to concentrate your efforts, or like diversify to the point where you have to pay attention to so many different, right?
Yeah.
So there's some principles that can transfer from how we think about managing our investments, or like how we handle our businesses, and how it relates to our personal lives. And this is why the bigger theme here is the great recalculation. I'll take that again. When I was talking to you, Derek, and thinking about like, no, this isn't the great resignation. There's something deeper here. And I brought up like, this is really a great recalculation by everybody. And you'll see similar themes. And that's why for this season 2, we're going to continue with this broad-based theme of the great recalculation, but it's really impacting very important aspects of our lives, not just on the business side, not just on the career side, but also on our personal lives. And that's why these past 2 episodes, last week's where you gave great insights, and then this week's where I shared a few things about how I approach dating. That's why it's really important in terms of just the greater idea of what we're dealing with in these times, what we're grappling with. I encourage the audience to share their stories, their viewpoints, whether or not they disagree. Share lists of places where like dating has been a lot easier for them. Like feel free to share that in the comments, but definitely follow on YouTube, and please share out some advice. Help me out, y'all. I'm not at the point that Derek's at where he's found the one. I'm still looking for a one.
Someone.
And I'm enjoying getting to know folks, but really concentrating my efforts. We all want to get to the point where Derek's at, right? Making moves with a partner that he loves. So let's get to that point. And if that means you've given me advice in the comment section of our YouTube episode link, right, or in the channel in general, feel free, right? Well, whatever it takes for engagement, we definitely appreciate your support, and keep it coming. So with that, we can transition to our Right Move Right Now segment. And again, the idea of like recalculating a lot of important things in our life. Let's start off with you, Derek. What's your right move right now in terms of crypto?
Crypto is at an all-time high right now. Bitcoin is crossed the 66K mark. Ethereum is touching, or just kissing 5,000. You have all of the other coins that are up in value also. But it's cool to see that the new mayor-elect Eric Adams said he's going to receive his first few checks in Bitcoin. So I believe he's following the footsteps of the mayor in Miami, who's very, very bullish on Bitcoin and making Miami like the HQ of it. But I think if New York pushes it, and Eric Adams being that person to kind of say like, I'm going to take my check in Bitcoin. That's very, very good. I think you could probably see people working at regular jobs like, hey, can I get paid in Bitcoin? Like, I don't think that's going to be something that's going to be too far fetched to not hear. So as crypto, continues to go up, I continue to hold. I hope you all are just taking a look at it. Once again, we're not any, financial advisors. We're not telling you to buy it or sell it or anything. Just letting you know that we are looking at it. I am invested in it, and I will continue to be.
And I do think that this is a good right move right now selection, Derek. And we both think that Eric Adams is making the right move right now, bringing attention to crypto. I'm just going to point out very clearly, like the infrastructure isn't set up for him to get like paid in Bitcoin. So it's not realistic. Eric Adams knows that. He's still going to have to go the traditional way where he gets the check and then he's going to have to go out and buy Bitcoin on his own if he wants to do it this way, because the infrastructure isn't set up. We can't even do all of the crypto trading that we want in New York State. So, like avenues like BlockFi, right? I signed up, but I can't access.
Finance is another big one too.
Yeah, right. You can't do that. So sounds good, Eric Adams, but folks who really are in the know, like he's doing that for show, right? And I hope it is in the right direction, but the infrastructure isn't there. Which leads me to my right move right now. And when we talk about infrastructure and the Build Back Better agenda that Biden has. So my right move right now is a call to Democrats who have control, right? You have control of Congress. I need you, the country needs you to deliver on the Build Back Better agenda. And that agenda needs to include ensuring immigration reform. I'm tired of kind of like my own struggles with immigration status and like my friends, DACA, not DACA related. Like I'm tired of all of this. I've been tired of this for multiple decades. And you Democrats, you have power now. You cannot afford to not pass immigration reform as part of the Build Back Better agenda. Immigrants are a core part of America's ideological infrastructure, but also the literal labor that contributes to building out physical infrastructure. A lot of it has been dependent on immigrant labor. So Democrats, you have to deliver. Period.
Yeah. Simple as that. I'm very excited about this bill that just passed because of the amount of jobs that are going to be coming down the pipeline. I know I was reading something like a piece of it earlier. The fact that there's going to be a lot of more cyber security jobs, like I'm really excited about that because there's been too many cyber attacks that are happening, and I think that we as a country need to do a much better job at making sure that the right systems are like in place. So for me, I'm more excited about the types of jobs that are going to be coming out of this bill that just recently passed.
Look, when it comes to physical infrastructure, right? Again, immigrants have contributed to that. When you think of the virtual infrastructure, talking about the internet, right? All of the companies that were created by either immigrants or first-gen immigrants, right? Or like the sons and daughters of immigrants, right? Like so many have contributed along those lines. But then when we think about the ideological infrastructure, how we think about how we're supposed to welcome others, there is no choice but to deliver. And Democrats, you have the power, so it's your responsibility to deliver, Democrats.
It can happen. They have the House and the Senate, correct?
Yes, and so now's the time to deliver. right? It's not a huge edge, right? But now's the time to deliver, and it's up to us to put pressure on them, and that's also a right move right now for us. So speaking of delivering, we hope our content for this episode and also previous episodes have delivered. And please, give us some feedback, comment, subscribe, follow, share. We look forward to more episodes like this and more feedback from you.
Yes, definitely looking forward to the feedback, and also looking forward to next week where we talk about another topic that we are recalculating.
Yes. See you all next time, next episode on another topic related to the Great Recalculation.
All right.
Thank you guys for the support. See you all soon. Have a good night.
All right.